We attended several festivals with my son when he finished his first feature film, and we got to see firsthand what the festivals did for the filmmakers who were attending and getting to see their films up on the big screen and the excitement of having an audience to see their work. And my son included, he was very happy to have that experience and to get feedback from the people in the audience and have the Q&As and have a lot of people talking about the work. So we thought that it would be something great to do in our town. It was like, we don't have a film festival here, and it was very inspiring to see all these young and first-time filmmakers. Some of them were, of course, filmmakers who've done other film festivals and been doing this for quite some time. But they were all very inspirational, and so we decided that would be a great thing to bring here. So we did that. I would teach a new festival director to try to get as much information from another festival director as they possibly can. I got a lot of help from people from the Daytona Beach Film Festival, and when I first started out I asked them a lot of questions. I was on the phone with them all the time and getting a lot of assistance, and things that I would think of, all of a sudden I would just like dial the number and say, oh, what do I do about this? And some of the advice that they gave me, which was really important, was have a backup for everything. A backup projector, backup computer, backup whatever you can think of, have backups of backups. And that's critical because you don't want your festival to stop, and not be able to continue after you fix a problem. Daytona told me that one festival they had many years ago, the bulb burned out on their projector and they had to stop for hours because they had to wait for another bulb. They had to find the right one and everything. So I was like, I never thought of that. A bulb burning out, who would think of that? So your projector just doesn't work without the bulb. So they gave me a lot of advice and a lot of help. So I would suggest that anybody starting a festival would try to get some advice and help from other festival directors. We pick the categories based on the submissions. We don't have a set number in advance of documentaries. We won't say, okay, 5 is the maximum documentaries and 5 is the maximum horror and 5 is the maximum drama. We just go by what the submissions are and select the best of the submissions and then fit those into the blocks that we can. And so it just happened this year. We had a very strong year for documentaries, very emotional and inspiring documentaries. So we wanted to get them all in. And so we don't really limit ourselves ahead of time. We just go with what gets submitted. Last year, the one that stood out was a film called One-Armed Man, and that was written by an Academy Award-winning screenwriter named Horton Foote, and he was famous for winning two Academy Awards. One was for this screenplay adaptation of To Kill a Mockingbird, and the other one was for Tender Mercies. And so that film was executive produced by Philip Seymour Hoffman before he passed away, and it was directed by an actor-director named Tim Guinee. And so that one really stood out to me last year because of the credentials of the people in it. Let's see, my first year, one that a comedy really comes to mind is called Mama Needs a Ride. And it was a very funny movie that the audience totally engaged in and loved. And it's by a filmmaker here in Florida named Matt Florio. And the audience just went hysterical. It was really, really well done. It was very funny. And it had a really good twist at the end that people weren't expecting. And they were laughing all through it. So that one stands out from my first first year. And this year I had many standouts. So, and they're all fresh in my mind, so it's hard to pick one. Well, we didn't go to the movies a lot when I was a kid. I think one of the first movies that I ever saw was Gone with the Wind in the theater, because it was one of my mother's favorites. It was making the rounds, and I was amazed by that, because that was just it was a long movie, and there was so much going on in it, and it was really a great story, and I had read the book, so I was excited to see that. So that one really stood out. And then when I got older, I saw movies like The Exorcist and Jaws and scary movies, which totally turned me off to scary movies after I saw The Exorcist. I was like, okay, that's enough of this. So I used to go with my friends in high school to see those movies. So they stand out in my head because they made an impact on me, to the point where I was like, okay, I can't stay in this room by myself, because I'm thinking of that scary movie. We saw The Omen, so that was a period I went through, and I was like, oh, okay, no more. I would tend towards less scary things now myself, my own personal lack of, I don't want to be afraid. I think any of them, any big movie star, I'd be starstruck. Honestly, I think maybe Meryl Streep, that I might kind of like faint if I saw her, because I think she's great in everything she does, all the way back to Sophie's Choice. That was just unbelievably, what a role. So, but there's any number of them I think I would be excited to meet and be starstruck by. Why not? Okay, Kathie Barry, and I just got interviewed on QDPie.com.